You're very welcome. Please come in and grab a seat. I want to thank again Freedom, who rolling back the years. I'm just going to do a quick introduction with Ed Peterson, and then we're going to hand over to our MCs for the night. I'm representing Corrymeela tonight, and want to just really thank you all for coming from the different places and walks of life you've come. And Ed, over to you.
Yeah, and I'm representing the Northern Ireland Interfaith Forum, and in the forum we're particularly grateful to Johnny and the Corrymeela community for the opportunity to partner with this event and Beyond Skin. And we're not maybe always the best in organizing things, so we're particularly grateful to Johnny, and I know Father Martin McGill spurred us on throughout, and anyway, yeah, we're just very grateful and thankful that so many of you have come to join us this evening on this very special International Day of Peace.
Maybe just to say also really grateful for Farsit, who let us use this venue. They've been incredibly generous. They put on a lovely spread for our intermission that I think is now already gone. But Farsit have just been brilliant. So it's brilliant to be here and having this event there. So I think without further ado, on your seats you should have a little booklet that you can take away that has the reflections that are going to be read tonight. And there's a wee evaluation form. We'd love you to fill that in. At the back of those doors there are there's bathrooms out there, and also there's some buckets just as you go with QR codes. If you'd like to make a donation to Farsit, and they are going to hand that on in turn to really good work in this area. So please make a donation to Farsit tonight. So without further ado, we should invite Chris Page and Azadeh Sabut, who are going to MC tonight.
Evening, everybody. Welcome. Great to be here. It is our pleasure. I will just lower this microphone slightly. Its height is not one of my great attributes. It's a great pleasure for us to be here tonight. We have really enjoyed getting to know folks involved in organising tonight and then taking part. It's promising to be a very special and meaningful evening. So I've just met Azadeh this evening, and she will be taking you through the second half of tonight's proceedings. Azadeh's got a fascinating life story and perspective on some of the issues we're thinking about tonight. So towards the end of the first half, I'll be having a chat to her about all that. But just to begin by saying, I suppose one of the reasons why I am particularly happy to be here for this event is that this is a celebration of difference and diversity. And in my job as a journalist, I feel very passionately, as do many of my colleagues in the organisation I work for and others, that it is incredibly important that we do our best to reflect the diversity in society that we have here in Northern Ireland, how society has changed, particularly over the years of the peace process, that it's not really accurate, I think, to characterise Northern Ireland anymore as being just made up of two main traditions, if you like, two national identities. We now have so many more different perspectives on the world. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow morning, coincidentally, whenever the census figures for last year are published. We'll get a statistical snapshot, maybe, which will be fascinating in many ways. But beyond that, hearing people's stories, hearing about their beliefs, their faith traditions, is vital to understanding, for me, the place that Northern Ireland has become and is becoming. So from that point of view, I'm looking forward to learning plenty tonight, to enhancing, enlarging my understanding of who we are as a people. And also, that was on a professional level, I guess, and on a personal level, I feel that story, that journey that Northern Ireland has been on has had pretty profound implications for me and my family. My wife is from a Coptic Orthodox Egyptian background. We've been married here 10 years. Her parents, my parents-in-law, emigrated to Northern Ireland in 1973 from Cairo. And owing to the media focus, if I can put it that way, in Egypt at the time. They didn't really know what was happening in Northern Ireland in 1973 until they got here. And when they found out what was happening, well, they did get a bit of a shock. But they grew to really love the place and settled here, stayed here for 10 years. My wife and her younger brother were born here. Around the time that my parents-in-law were arriving here, my parents actually were leaving Northern Ireland. Interestingly, they got married in the same week, the very same week. My parents-in-law decided to leave Egypt and come here. My parents decided to leave here and go to live in England because of the violence. So I began life with an English accent. I was born there. My wife began with a Northern Irish accent. This is where she was born. Now, she is the one with a Northern Irish accent. She's the one with an English accent, and I speak the way I am. So somehow we swapped accents along the way, but we found each other. So just considering, as I say, in the conversations I've had in the run-up to this event, what difference diversity is making to our society, how it's affecting us at a collective level and individually, is something that it does affect me very personally. We now have 2 little boys, aged 7 and 5, so we're going through a process, a journey really of figuring out as we bring them up, how we find ways of honouring all the different heritages that are brought to bear in their life. For example, could be learning a language. They're named Daniel and Joel, which are names that work in 2 cultural contexts, both here and with their relatives in Egypt, where we visit once a year. So all these matters are extremely important to all of us on some level. Maybe it matters in your personal family circumstances, maybe it matters in the work that you're doing, maybe it matters just in the way that you're perceiving and observing and interacting with people as you go about your daily lives. But this night, this evening that we're about to embark on, I think will be a very valuable one for our understandings. So,
good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Jiyadej, Namaskar. I'm sorry if I've missed a lot of languages in this room. As spoken by my colleague and friend tonight, Chris, I'm Azadeh, and I'm very delighted for this opportunity being offered to me by Karimila. I consider myself a friend of Karimila, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity tonight to speak here. I hope this night will be a time of spiritual connection and nourishment for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will begin tonight with our first faith reflection, and it will be delivered by the Reverend David Cale, who is the minister to the Belfast Jewish community. He's been in that role since 2018, and he was previously minister to 2 synagogues in London. So now we'll hand over to him for our first reflection.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here tonight to share something with you. Peace. If I was to ask a group of people, what is peace? I expect I would receive many varied different answers, such as a state of tranquility or quiet, or a state of order in the community provided by law or custom. If I look up the word peace in the English dictionary, it says peace is freedom from disturbance, a freedom from or a cessation of war. However, the Hebrew word for peace, shalom, comes from the Hebrew meaning completeness. When one has peace, one has everything. And maybe that's the reason why everyone greets one another in the Jewish world with the word peace instead of hi or hello. The greeting is a blessing. I pray that you, who I am now meeting, shall be blessed at this very moment with peace. I would like to read a poem written by Barbara D. Hollander entitled The Giver of Peace. Giver of peace, teach us to see ourselves in the face of the other, that we may learn to be patient with fault, generous with love, sparing with anger. Help us to understand that our little lives are potent with great good, that we are healers in your image, that reaching out in need of you to others more in need, we find you near. Give us the grace simply to be kind, then peace must surely come to dwell among us. That's the end of the poem. May the world and everyone in it, wherever they are, be blessed with a very special gift of peace. Shalom from the Jewish community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, for our first faith reflection of the evening. Now I'm going to invite up our first musical contributors. They are a very special band. They are called Nalani, and they fuse traditional music with contemporary tunes. And many of their songs touch on the themes that we're celebrating and looking at tonight: peace, reconciliation, diversity, and inclusion. And they've been touring around Europe, and they've appeared at events throughout Ireland and the UK over the last 5 years. So it was a real pleasure to welcome to the stage here Nalani.
Thank you very much. We're going to start out with a song that I learned from my Uncle Tommy, who's going to perform a little bit later. And he heard it being performed by the man who wrote it, Peter Yarrow, and he was performing with his daughter. And Tom asked him had he written it, and he said he'd written parts of it and he'd learnt it and added parts to it, and then Tom added some more parts to the song. So this is the version that we learned from Tom anyway. It's called Don't Laugh at Me, and it kind of is about people in the margins of society who might be forgotten about sometimes. I'm the little boy with glasses they sometimes call a geek. I'm the little girl who never smiles 'cause I have braces on my teeth. And I know how it feels to cry myself to sleep. I'm the kid on every playground who's always chosen last. I'm a single teenage mother trying to overcome my past. And I know how it feels to cry myself to sleep. Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pain. In our hearts we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. And the beggar on the corner, he passed me in the street, and I wouldn't be out here begging if I had enough to eat. And don't think that I don't notice that our eyes never meet. Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pain. In God's eyes we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. straight, I do my best, but I always seem to fail your test. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm short, I'm tall, I'm deaf, I'm blind, hey, aren't we all? Don't laugh at me, don't call me names, don't get your pleasure from my pain. In God's eyes, we're all the same. Someday we'll all have perfect wings. Don't laugh at me. Thank you. We'll sing a song in Italian now. I hope there's no Italian speakers here, just in case I mess up the words. But this is a song called Bella Ciao. You might know it. It was first written in the 19th century, in the women who were working in the rice paddy fields in the mountains of Italy, and their employers were extremely harsh. They were up to their knees in rice water and bent over all day long, and so they ended up with really chronic back problems, and they had no one to complain to, no one to listen, and they just had to work like this. So this was first heard back then. It was later adapted around the time of the war, and it's just recently been translated into Ukrainian and released as a song there, a kind of resistance song. But we haven't learned it in Ukrainian yet, so we'll try it in Italian. Una mattina mi son risvegliato, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi son risvegliato e trovato l'invaso. Oh partigiano, portami via, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire. O sei ammoio do partigiano, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Sei ammoio di partigiano, tu mi devi seppellire e seppellire da su montagna. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Seppellire da su montagna sotto l'ombro di un bel fiore. Tutti la gente che passeranno, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Tutti la gente che passeranno mi diranno che bel fiore. Chi è sto il fiore? Che partigiano. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Chi è sto il fiore? Che partigiano, morto per la libertà. Chi è sto il fiore del partigiano, morto per la libertà.
Thanks very much. We're just going to finish up here with one song, and the chance for you to sing along because there's a very easy chorus in it. And we'll give you a wee start. It goes like this. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Do you think you have that? You're not too sure of yourselves yet. Well, shall we give it a wee try here? If I can find a pick. Let's see if it goes like this. So, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Do you have that?
Easy
Okay.
peasy.
Let's be hearing it. Bring them all in,
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Lovely. We'll go for it. Yep.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring the little fish in. Bring the shark. Bring them from the brightness. Bring them from the dark.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring them from the cavern. Bring them from the heights. Bring them from the shadows. Stand them in the light.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring them out of paradise. Bring them out of storm. Bring them out of hiding. Lay them at my door.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring the unforgiven. Bring the unredeemed. Bring the lost and nameless. Let them all be seen.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring them out of exile. Bring them out of sleep. Bring them to the portal. Lay them at my feet.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart. Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in,
Bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all in, bring them all into my heart.
Thank you.
Those harmonies in that last number really sent shivers down my spine. I'm sure
can speak for many of us by saying that was a performance that has really blessed us to get the music going tonight. So one more time, could I just ask you? So many thanks again to Fra on the guitar, Sorka on the vocals, and Annie on the fiddle. So we're going to have another two faith reflections now. In a moment, we're going to hear from Patricia Irvine, who's a member of the Belfast Baha'i Assembly and a former chair of the Northern Ireland United Nations Association, and also from Katie Wood, who's a student and a voluntary youth worker with the Baha'i community in Belfast. But first, we are going to have a Hindu reflection led by Raj Puri, who is a leading member of the Northern Ireland Indian community and has been a member of the Interfaith Forum's Executive Committee for many years. Raj.
Namaste. Just a way of greeting in Hindus. And Hindu prayers are not only for Hindus, but for the whole universe, as our Vedas, our religious book says, Vasudeva Kutamkam. The whole universe is one family. We pray, O God, Astoma Satkamya, lead us from unreal to real. Tamsoma Jyotigamya, lead us from darkness to light. Mrityuma Mritgamya, lead us from death to immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. May God help you to remain in peace within yourself and the world. Peace be in the universe. Peace be the earth, water, and seas. Peace be the medicines, and peace to all whatever grows on the earth. The whole universe should be filled with the fragrance of peace and peaceful knowledge. Everything in the universe be peaceful. That peace will be granted to us. Peace, peace, peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Thank you very much, Raj. So now I will call upon Patricia and Katie for a high reflection.
Good evening, everyone. I would just like to start by saying thank you to Interfaith Forum, to Beyond Skin, and Coramila for organising this lovely event tonight and inviting us all to be part of it. Many of you will know that at the very heart of the Baha'i teachings is unity and diversity. And in fact, we believe that that is really a prerequisite for peace, and this is the International Day of Peace. So we've chosen just a very short quote from the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith, Abdul Baha. So I'm just going to read it now. And I think it really expresses what we mean by unity and diversity. The diversity in the human family should be the cause of love and harmony, as it is in music, where many different notes blend together in the making of a perfect chord. If you meet those of different race and colour from yourself, do not mistrust them and withdraw yourself into your shell of conventionality, but rather be glad and show them kindness. Think of them as different coloured roses growing in the beautiful garden of humanity, and rejoice to be among them. Thank you.
Were it not for the cold, how would the heat of thy words prevail? Were it not for calamity, how would the sun am it not, because of the wicked thou were created to bear and endure, or 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 by thine aloneness the Son of oneness shone, and by thy banishment the land of unity was adorned. Be patient, be patient, be patient, O thou exile of the world. Be patient, be patient, be patient, O thou exile of the world. So be patient, be patient, be patient, O thou exile of the world, to bear and endure, or 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 to bear and endure, or
Thank you very much, Katie, and to Tricia and Raj, also our thanks for leading us in our second series of Faith Reflections this evening. Now it's time for more music, a group with a unique story, Beyond Skin. You've heard them mentioned a few times already tonight. So I am going to hand over to the man who can tell you all about them and what they stand for, and he is Darren.
I'm going to get Amita and Mia to come up and get themselves organised. So I'm aware that many people here, English is not your first language. We do talk very fast, don't we? I'm amazed and in awe of how quickly you pick up English, coming from somebody who was born here and who failed his English GCSE first time around. So I'm still to master my own language yet. So my name's Darren, I'm from Beyond Skin. We've been going for 18 years. I've a grey hair for every day of those 18 years. And it's using the arts and peace building, working with diversity of artists and musicians who have been born here, who have recently come here, and also with partners abroad as well. I'm not going to say too much because I'm going to let Amita and Mia, who have met about 30 minutes ago. Classic Darren, as some of the people in this room will tell you. And they're going to perform a piece together, and I'll let them introduce that.
She's playing, so no. Yeah. Namaste everyone, my name is Amita. I came to Northern Ireland 12 years ago, and today I'm going to sing a bhajan which written in 15th century by a poet called Narsim Mehta. It's called Vaishnava Janato, and it means who is real human. The real human is who knows others' pain and does good to others and help those who is in need without letting the pride in his head. He just helps. That is real human. And after that, I'll jump to another song, a small one, where the poet says, you have to learn the language of ice, not the verbal things. You have to learn the ice, the language of ice. So I'm not going to talk or I'm not going to sing. You should understand what I say through the ice. Okay? Yeah. But I'm going to sing.
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तुम्हें पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए मन अभिमान न जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने रे. So this is the prayer. I think everyone can kick, right? So I need some percussion here. सीखो ना नैनों की भाषा पिया कमान सीखो ना नैनों की भाषा पिया कह रही तुमसे ये खामोशियाँ सीखो ना लफ्ज़ों ना खोलूंगी मैं समझो की बोली सीखो
you, Amita and Mia. I'm going to call Glenn and Omid up to the front here and get themselves sorted. So a lot of work we've been doing has been helping people who've come to our shores seeking sanctuary. Many people, there's a lot of friends in this room, many people are still living in hotels, and it's not the ideal scenario. And as we know, people who come here bring their skills with them, and we've been utilising a lot of skills from musicians and artists and graphic designers and photographers and craftsmen and women and so on, and giving an extra layer of support. So some of them are performing tonight. So I'm going to bring Glenn up here and Omid to get yourself sorted. So Glenn and Omid met 45 minutes ago. So the themes and kind of come up here, which is great. I love that. I just get musicians together and we see what happens, and the music is the language, and they meet and they just get on with it and create great sound. So I'll hand it over to Glenn, probably to say a few words, and Omid's from Iran. He's a fantastic percussionist, guitar player, and keyboard, piano player as well. So we're truly blessed that he's brought his skills.
May love to make up a wee bit on like the host tonight. I'm not diminutive in any shape or form. All right, and as you can tell from my accent, I'm Canadian. All right, so. See, before we start, I was going to nick one of the music stands there from Freedom. Were you alright if I nick one of those music stands? Is that alright? Dead on. Because I obviously did the wrong thing and picked a song that I don't know. Alright, so. Not only have I just met this bloke, I don't actually know the song I'm playing either. So there you go. This is going to be great. I was really encouraged at the start whenever the guy in Freedom actually forgot his words, and I thought, great, somebody else doesn't know the song either, so happy days. I'm in the right place here, okay. Listen, my name's Glenn Miller, and if you ever wanted like a paradox in terms of identity and stuff, I'm one of them, alright, because I'm a Canadian East Belfast loyalist who plays in a flute band, alright, and who also works in the Shankill Road and has been a cross-community worker for nearly 35 years, so I'm a walking dichotomy, so thanks very much for that clap there, I really appreciate that there, alright, okay, so who says loyalists can't be diverse, alright, so most people do, okay. So without further ado, I'm just going to sing the sash, all right? So, no, all right. You haven't a clue what's going on here, so you don't, all right? No, it's all right. Okay. And I also do some part-time comedy, but no, there you go. All right. So, folks, one of the things that I have done a lot of over the years is to try and bridge the gap between what people's perception of guys who play in loyalist flute bands and loyalist bands in general is, and to connect them with the positive aspect of what that brings to people who get involved in their lives. And one of the things that I got involved in quite some time ago was a project with Darren. Darren and me met through Apple, believe it or not, you know, because this uncultured East Belfast boy used to work for one of the largest companies in the world as well. I was the lead trainer for Apple for nearly 10 years, all right, and so we did this project together, which brought together, believe it or not, it brought together an East Belfast flute band, a Sri Lankan beatboxer, a Colombian flute player, is it a German bassist? Yeah. Is Jan German? Yeah, and we played this mix of a German number, a beer barrel polka, in a church in East Belfast, and it was mad, wasn't it? So that was my introduction to Darren, and I have to say that the guys that I was playing with at the time in the band thought I was an absolute nutcase for linking them up, but it's went on to develop into a pretty decent partnership. Darren and me have done quite a lot of stuff together, and I'm delighted to have met him here tonight and try and do a song that I am going to try and bend to the concept of peace, all right? And what I mean by that is, it's a song called In the Blood, and it asks questions, and while there's been lots of statements and stuff tonight, sometimes peace asks questions of us. And for me, the question is, am I taking on board the prejudices of my parents Am I taking on board the discrimination that's came through my community? Am I taking that in? Is that something that's part of me? Or is it something I'll wash out in the water? Or is it something that's actually in my blood? Now, I know the answer to that. It's not in my blood. It's something that I have the power to change. It's something we all have the power to change. So hopefully we get through this, all right? All right? So, all right, man? You good? Good stuff. So he has no clue what I'm saying. I'm near sure of it. All right, so we all good here, yeah? Yeah, all right. How much of my mother has my mother left in me? How much of my love will be insane to some degree? What about this feeling that I'm never good enough? Will it wash out in the water? Is it always in the blood? How much of my father am I destined to become? Will I dim the lights inside me just to satisfy someone? Will I let this hatred kill me or do away with jealous love? Will it wash out in the water or is it always in the blood? I can feel the love I want, I can see the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am. Could I change it if I wanted? Could I rise above the flood? Could it wash out in the water? Was it always in the blood? How much like my brothers do my brothers wanna be? Does a broken home become another broken family? We'll be there for each other like nobody ever could. Will it wash out in the water or is it always in the blood? 'Cause I can feel the love I want, I can feel the love I need, but it's never gonna come the way I am. Could I change it if I wanted? Could I rise above the flood? Will it wash out in the water or is it always in the blood? Will it wash out in the water or is it always in the blood?
Thank you very much indeed to Anita, Mia, Glenn, Umid and Darren from Beyond Skin. Thank you very much indeed to Anita, Mia, Glenn, Umid and Darren from Beyond Skin. So just short appreciation. So we'll move on to another series of two faith-filled reflections. In a moment we will hear from Sheena Bradley. She is a full-time humanist celebrant, so she meets with couples and families to plan and conduct non-religious weddings, funerals and baby namings. First of all, I'd like to invite Vicky Heslop to the stage. She's been a Tibetan Buddhist practitioner since 1991 and she's linked to the Jampaling Centre in County Cavan. So Vicky will lead us in a Buddhist reflection.
Piece I'm going to read tonight is selected extracts from Towards a True Kinship of Faith. The piece I'm going to read is written by the President Dalai Lama. Selected extracts from is the story of a Buddhist monk's journey, which was written by the President Dalai Lama, and which, in his words, as our world gets ever more complex and interconnected at all levels, it can look very complicated. As our world gets ever more complex and interconnected at all levels, it can look very complicated to find solutions. What could be maybe the solution to the world's problems to be found somewhere very quality of empathy. What could be more simple and sustaining on that level to return all to differences break down of empathy, whether one is rich or poor, educated or illiterate, religious or non-believing, man or woman, brown, black, or white, we are all the same. Physically, emotionally, and mentally, we are all equal. To all people, religious and non-believing, I make this appeal. Always embrace the common humanity that lies at the heart of all of us. Let your heart be softened by reflecting deeply upon the needs and aspirations of yourself and others. Even at an individual level, what we think about others and how we live our lives has implications far beyond our immediate surroundings. This is the reality of the world we live in. At a minimum, each of us must live our life upholding the regard for others at our core. The greatest challenge facing humankind today is the question of peaceful coexistence. For there to be true peaceful existence in the world, harmony among the world's major religions is indispensable. Seen in this light, the question of understanding among the faith traditions is no longer a matter that concerns religious believers alone. It affects the welfare of everyone on this planet. On a practical level, without interreligious understanding and without peace between secularists and adherents of religion, we cannot build a genuinely compassionate and happier humanity. So it is in the interests of everyone not only to care for peaceful coexistence among the religions, but also to actively work for a tolerant acceptance of religious world. And I finish with a verse written by the first Panchen Lama, who lived at the end of the 1500s, and he wrote this in the Guru Puja. There is no difference between myself and others. None of us wishes even the slightest of sufferings, nor is ever satisfied by the happiness we have. Realizing this, I seek your blessings to enhance the bliss and joy of others.
Thank you, Vicky. So now I will invite Sheena to come to the stage for our humanist reflection.
What the astronomer Carl Sagan said in his 1994 book entitled Pale Blue Dot is as staggeringly relevant in light of today's news as it is when he wrote it. He said, "The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot." Humanists believe that peace in our world is not simply the absence of all conflicts, rather that peace means that conflicts are worked out without violence. This is something that we can relate to here in Northern Ireland as we continue to work towards peace, post-conflict, in these 6 counties. And it can be overwhelming to consider all the barriers that we have yet to overcome. At a personal level, many of us will have experienced the deep pain of family disputes and fallouts. And in the past few years, we have watched as even the royal family have publicly struggled to work out their differences and make peace with one another. Is so-called world peace even possible? I have no idea. Should we give up hoping and working for it? Absolutely not. When the world seems intent on destroying itself, and I am tempted to feel that change won't come and that it's hopeless, I take great comfort from the words of the American poet and environmental activist Wendell Berry, who said this: "When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
Thank you, Sheena. So, Azadeh, would you like to come up and we will have a chat? So, Azadeh, yeah, and why not? Will that work? Yep, thumbs up from Davey, our sound maestro. So, yeah. But like Parkinson or the Late Late Show, this, isn't it? Okay. So, Azadeh will be taking you through the second half of tonight. But first of all, we are just going to get to know her a little better. Azadeh, firstly, we have been talking a bit before events started tonight. Your life began in one of the world's biggest cities, Tehran, the Iranian capital. And how have things unfolded since then?
Okay. Very good question, Chris, because as of now, things are changing very quickly in my country. And since I was born, things have been shifting very rapidly. I am a post-revolution kid. I had no contribution to the revolution, but the revolution has basically shaped my life in many ways. And the year I was born, my country was under invasion, and as you might remember, Iran was under attack by Saddam during 1980s, and the war lasted the entire of my childhood. So people of my generation have survived the wars. They have survived international sanctions that have been imposed on us over various governments and supported by most developed nations. But what is important for me to say now is that this very moment, the women of Iran have taken over the streets. They have claimed their own spaces. For some of you who might have been following the news, an Iranian woman was killed last week in custody of the police. And now the women's movement called Women, Life and Freedom has unfolded. And this is going to continue. Going back to my own life journey, I was born in Tehran, and Pakistan was my second home. I lived there for 6 years as a child, so I have very fond memories of Pakistan. But it was in India that I found myself as a teenager, my worldview and my dream and aspiration that was formed in later years. I came to England to do my studies in 2008. I went back to Iran. Iran has been always my connecting part with the world. And I left Iran for Belfast in 2013. This September marks the 9th anniversary of my arrival to this beautiful place. In Belfast, I have found a home away from home. I have found some of the deepest and richest encounters of my life in Belfast. Some of the most profound friendships and comradeships. I have fell in love in its streets. I have married in Belfast. I have made some of the most important decisions of my life in Belfast. I have given birth to my son. So when I look back at my arrival to Belfast, I don't find it as an immigration status. Rather, I see it as a natural continuation of my life trajectory. And here I am tonight.
And you have been involved in some fascinating projects through your work. Do you want to tell us about the work that you have been and are continuing to be involved in?
I've recently completed a postdoctoral project in West Asia, particularly Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. And I've been working here in Belfast at the moment with 2 human rights NGOs, as well as teaching part-time at university. The part-time jobs that I have at the moment with human rights NGOs, one of them, I'm leading the Northern Ireland Racial Equality Council's work on providing advocacy and support to survivors of hate crime. And in my other role, I am organizing a campaign to lift the ban on working right of asylum seekers. As we all know, the asylum seekers who have come to make home in this island, they are encountering a lot of difficulties. And some of the issues that are embedded and are structural. So it's very important for us, if we are addressing those issues, we have that broader thinking of what peace means to us globally, rather than looking at the isolated issues of asylum seekers in the current immigration system here.
Just to pick up on what you've said there about these issues that clearly you are so passionate about, and it really comes pouring out of you as a day. When you talk about, I think you used the word structural challenges and a broader way of thinking about issues around racism. Can you kind of unpack that a little bit for us and explain a bit more about how you see things there?
Yeah. When you look at the countries that people are fleeing from, in West Asia, in the Middle East, in parts of Africa, a lot of these countries have been former colonies of rich countries. And when you look at the long-term involvement of many Western countries in the Middle East, long-term involvement in wars, in selling arms to regional dictators for killing Muslims who are mostly civilians. And then you have this war on terror agenda that wants to supposedly clean the earth from terrorists by killing more Muslims. The same people who flee war come here, they enter a totally racialized immigration system. And now you look at the people, thousands of families in the so-called, not really, don't believe it, it's not a hotel. It's a prison, it's a detention center. As an advocate, I'm not even allowed to enter one of those hotels to meet a person I am advocating for. And they are not allowed to exit or enter the hotel without reporting back to security. So you have these black and brown bodies who are being racialized by the immigration system, who are being sent to detention centers, who are being treated as subhumans, being dehumanized, and this is a structural racism. This is not an individual bias. And if we want to speak about peace, we need to address this.
Azadeh, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and speaking so passionately tonight. You will return here to lead us through the second half of the evening. Just before we do take our half-time break, as it were, I'm going to invite Shona up for a few words and to lead us in a response to what we've been hearing so far.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Azadeh. I think just those words so rich and encourage us to really think a little bit more deeply about the subject upon which we gather this evening. We're here tonight because it is the UN Day of Peace. The theme is End Racism, Build Peace. Very strong and powerful words given what we have just heard. We're also here as this is the Good Relations Week, and the theme for that is Change Starts With Us. And so it gives us an opportunity to think about how we might action in terms of the situation upon which we're focusing this evening. So for a short moment, I'm suggesting that we just pause. We just take a moment to be quiet together. And during that time, to think of those for whom peace is a dream. And in fact, no day feels like peace. And also to reflect on those for whom racism is an everyday factor in their lives. And we know there are many who feel that way. And we ask you during this time just to think about an action, even a very small action, that you could take in your own life to contribute to peace. And to really think about that, because change starts with us. So we take a moment just to think about what our contribution could be to peace. Thank you. Over the intermission, I'm going to ask you to have a conversation with someone about the action that you thought about. We hope that that will help it become real, help it become something we can really do together, because change does start with us. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Shona. We are going to have a short break now. I did refer to it a few moments ago as a half-time break. Actually, I should make clear we are more than halfway through. We are going to be finishing up just after 9 o'clock. We believe, so think of this more as a 2/3 or 3/4 break rather than a half-time break. So please do enjoy the tea, coffee and refreshments. Bathrooms are just outside this door here also. And as this is my last act for the evening, I just once again like to thank Johnny and all the team for inviting me to be part of such a special and moving evening. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the second part of tonight's event. I would like to invite Kate Price and Dr. Roger Courtney for the next reflection from Christian Faith. Kate Price is a nurse who works with deaf people with mental health difficulties, and Dr. Roger Courtney is a freelance organizational development consultant and former CEO of the NI Simon community.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be known as the children of God. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you, and pray for those who abuse you.
Martin Luther King. Politicians talk about peace as a distant goal, as an end we seek. But one day, we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal, but that it is a means by which we arrive at that goal. We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means. Let me suggest that if we are to have peace on earth, our loyalties must become ecumenical rather than sectional. Our loyalties must transcend our race
our tribe, our class, and our nation. And this means we must develop a world perspective. No individual can live alone. No nation can live alone. And as long as we try to live alone, the more we are going to have war in this world. Now the judgment of God is upon us, and we must either learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we are all going to perish together as fools.
Pope Francis, reflecting on the conflict in Syria in 2013. Let us all become, in every place, men and women of reconciliation and peace. War always marks the failure of peace. It is always a defeat for humanity. Rebuild the harmony that has been shattered. It is possible for everyone. Say yes to peace. It is possible for everyone. Say yes to peace. Each person must realize that to be human means to care for one another. This is a way to peace. Forgiveness, dialogue, and reconciliation. These are the words of peace in beloved Syria, in the Middle East, and all the world.
Archbishop Desmond Tutu, from his Nobel Peace Prize acceptance speech in 1984. When will we learn that human beings are of infinite value because they've been made in the image of God, and that it is blasphemy to treat them as if they were less than this, and to do so ultimately recoils on those who do this? In dehumanizing others, people are themselves dehumanized. Perhaps oppression dehumanizes the oppressor as much, if not more, than the oppressed. They need each other to become truly free, to become human. We can only be human only in fellowship, in community, in koinonia, in peace. Let us work to be peacemakers, those given a wonderful share in our Lord's ministry of reconciliation. If we want peace, so we've been told, let us work for justice. Let us beat our swords into plowshares.
Thank you, Dr. Roger Courtney and Kate Price, for a very thought-provoking and powerful quote. Could I have the pleasure of inviting Dr. Wasif Naim, who is a Vice Chairman of the Belfast Islamic Centre and also a member of the NI Interfaith Forum Executive Committee. He is a reader in the School of Electronics, Electrical Engineering and Computer Science at Queen's University, Belfast. Thank you for offering up a reflection from Muslim perspective.
Thank you very much, Azadeh. Thank you all for coming here. So the title of the Muslim reflection I mentioned here is 4 Simple Steps to Peace, a prophetic advice by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First of all, I mean, when I was discussing this with my wife about what to say, as with everything else in my life, this is the first thing actually she mentioned, okay, why don't we talk about that? And when I looked at it again, I thought, okay, it can't be anything more perfect than that. So the story goes as after Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he escaped the continuous persecution and multiple assassination attempts in his homeland, Mecca, which is in current Saudi Arabia. He migrated to Medina with his followers. When he arrived in Medina, he made a speech there, which is part of that is quoted below. O people, feed the hungry, spread salam, which is greeting of peace. Maintain your kin relationships and pray at night while others are asleep. With this you shall enter heaven in peace. The essence of the Prophet's, peace be upon him, message is the well-being of people. And his first words as he entered into the new community of Medina emphasized that. So I'll just go through these point by point, very briefly. The first one is feed the hungry. Eliminating hunger starts with everyone recognizing that we all share the world's food resources. Food is a necessity of survival and a prerequisite for peace. We cannot expect communities and countries to tackle other issues until we help them ease the pangs of hunger among their people. Ensuring that everyone is able to find their meals for the day is an important step towards world peace. The second is to greet with peace, and we heard this before in other talks as well. Warmly greeting each other goes a long way in creating compassion and awareness among one another. Ignorance leads to hatred, and greeting one another opens the door to learn about one another. It diffuses tension and fosters dialogue. A greeting of peace like, I wish you peace, Assalamu alaikum, or may Allah peace be with you today, goes even a step further. In Islam, one of Allah's name is peace, that is salam. A greeting of peace is a prayer for Allah to send His peace upon each one of us. The third one is maintain kin relation, which is quite lacking, to be frank, in this world. Family and relatives are an important unit for peace in the world. Renewing and maintaining family ties on a regular basis, even with distant relatives, create opportunities for collaboration and appreciation for one another. It ensures that everyone belongs with someone somewhere. And the final one is to pray when others are asleep. In an inspiring connection between our spiritual life and physical life, the Prophet, peace be upon him, blessed praying at night along with feeding the hungry, greeting each other, and maintaining family ties. When we are busy ourselves in the quiet moments of the night, it is a powerful time to build our connection with Allah, the Creator. The spiritual connection with our Creator is the reactor that gives us the energy to sustain our relationship with others and our service towards them. By balancing our inner strength and implementing our role towards others, we chart not only a path to peace in our world, but a peaceful path to heaven as well. Salam.
Thank you, Dr. Wasif Naeem. I would like to welcome a group of musicians from Beyond the Skein.
Are you doing okay? You still with us? Thanks to everybody who's spoken and performed. It's been a really lovely evening, so thanks for that. Just the quick story. Beyond Skin, we've been working not only here, but we're working with partners abroad, and we had a huge program in Afghanistan there with young girl musicians from Northern Ireland, collaborating with the Afghan Women's Orchestra, who now are mostly in Portugal, and they managed to get out, and some have got scholarships in the United States. So really through that, I've gathered a great understanding of Afghanistan, and when we set up a Musicians and Artists at Risk for Settlement scheme here in Northern Ireland, it was influenced by Afghanistan, but we reached out to support all musicians from all countries of origin, and the universe brought myself and Shiva, she's moved, switched side. Shiva and myself and a guitar technician called Leaf. The universe brought us together. Shiva's from Iran, she'll say a wee bit about herself. And we kind of birthed this idea of a guitar club. And Shiva has been teaching, well, over 50 people at least, seeking asylum, the guitar. And for a woman who's come through quite a traumatic journey, I've so much admiration for Shiva, whose strength just overwhelms me, and how she's helping others now as well. So she'll say a wee bit about herself. And Hamara is an equally brave lady from Afghanistan, and we're here in UNESCO Music City. Meanwhile, our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan are not allowed to play music or have any creativity whatsoever. So Hamara is here in solidarity, and her father, our proud father, here is in the audience as well. She's never performed on stage before. She's been learning the guitar from Shiva. We've given her this platform, so we're going to really support her in this, okay? Because I think... So I'm going to hand it over to these brave girls to take it forward, and Shiva will say a few words as well.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. And happy International Peace Day. And I wore black because of what is happening at the moment in my country, Iran. And as Azad said, there are lots of women in the streets and protesting for their own rights to wear what they want, to choose what they want. And I'm really happy that we are together here and we have this opportunity to think and to do whatever we want to here, and nobody can decide for you. And I had this chance to start to work with other people, asylum seekers here, and teach guitar. It's not a guitar actually class. What we have together is a guitar club, and they come out of those hotels that they are inside in, and we receive, because of what Darren and Beyond the Skin did, we received more than, I guess, 80 guitars donation, and we pass those guitars to other people, and they start to play. And it is the peaceful way that you can spend your time, and I'm really happy that Homera, she's here. And to be honest, she didn't had those that much classes. I mean, maybe for 3 or 4 months, but she's really good. I hope you enjoy this.
برگی سویت ای جان کمتر زن شانه چون در شین و شکنش دارد دل من کاشانه چون در چین و شکنش دارد دل من کاشانه بگشا ز مویت گرهی چندی غم تا بگشایی گرهی شاید ز دل دیوانه تا بگشایی گرهی شاید ز دل دیوانه دل در مویت دارد خانه مجروح گردد چو زنی هر دم شانه مجروح گردد چو زنی هر دم شانه در حلقه مویت بس دل اسیر است بینم خونین دل این و آن سر هر دندانه بینم خونین دل این و آن سر هر دندانه
She was brilliant. I mean, what she did, and it was her first performance ever. After maybe 3 months, so I'm really pleased. Thank you, Homera. I didn't want to sing, but to be honest, I want to sing one song, and then I will play some Spanish theme for you, and then I will go and let you continue. یه دل میگه برم برم یه دلم میگه نرم نرم طاقت نداره دلم دلم بی تو چه کنم پیشش خیلی زیبا زیبا خیلی کوچیکه دنیا دنیا با یاد تو هم هر جا ترکت نکنم سلطان قلبم تو هستی دروازه های دلم را شکستی، پیمان یاری به قلبم تو بستی، با من پیوستی. اکنون اگر از تو دورم به هر جا، بر یار دیگر نبندم دلم را، سرشارم از آرزو و تمنای یار زیبا. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva John and Homeira, for your very rich and beautiful performances. We would like to invite Tommy Sands. I'm sure all of you know Tommy. Could we have a great pause to welcome Tommy Sands? Tommy Sands is a well-loved folk musician and peace activist. He has performed on stages all over the world with some of the biggest names in folk music. Thank you for giving us the honor of listening to you tonight.
Let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. Shake the hand of the man from the far distant land, meet him and treat him well. And that young woman so fair, they're sitting over there, she's got a story to tell, don't we all? So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. That's the chorus. We will travel along on the wings of a song with a mind that is open and free. If we close our eyes to the other side, we're just half of what we could be. So let the circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. So we'll pass a bottle around and we'll drink another round, that our friendship will always remain. For how can you tell when we say our farewells? When will we all meet again here in Farsehead? So let a circle be wide round the fireside, and we'll soon make room for you. Let your heart have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. Thank you. Well, you may notice that I spoke the last line as a song. The old people used to believe that when people sing, you go into another level. So in order to bring people back down to the earth gently, you would say the last line of the song. And I must say, what I've been listening to tonight has been so moving and so inspiring. The words of the songs and the speeches and so on have been so moving and making so much sense. The melodies of the songs from a distant land, I didn't understand the words, but I didn't have to, because it went straight, it avoided the brain, went straight to the heart. And maybe that's the place where we need to be sometimes. But I'll sing you a song. I grew up in a small farmhouse in the countryside of County Down, and my parents played music, and people would come in at night, and we were surrounded by all sorts of people, all religions. Well, actually, there's only two. But they all came to the house, and my very earliest memory was watching toes tapping to the same rhythm, regardless of the political persuasion or religious affiliation. And I realized at a very young age that music was something that could somehow connect all the secret and the sacred things inside us. This song comes from some years ago. The people who came in, of course, were from different persuasions, as we call it. But we knew them all. We worked with them in the fields. And I remember one evening in the summertime when the roses were out and we could hear explosions going off in the town of Newry. And we could hear drums being played very loudly just a few fields away. Someone said, no matter how close the troubles get to us here, it won't change us because we're friends and we know each other. But 1 year from that day, many things had changed. It took me a long time to write a song about it because I thought that it just summed up war anywhere. My song for you this evening, it's not to make you sad, nor for adding to the sorrows of this troubled northern land. But lately I've been thinking, and it just won't leave my mind, to tell you of two friends one time who were both good friends of mine. Alan Bell from Benich, he lived just across the fields. Great man for the music and the dancing and the reels. O'Malley came from South Armagh to court young Alice Fair, and we'd often meet on the Ryan Road and the laughter filled the air. There were roses, roses, there were roses, and the tears of the people ran together. Though Alan he was Protestant and Sean was Catholic born, it never made a difference, for the friendship it was strong. And sometimes in the evening, when we heard the sound of drums, we said it won't divide us, we will always be the one. For the ground our fathers ploughed in, the soil it is the same, and the places where we say our prayers have just got different names. We talked about the friends who died, and we hoped there'd be no more. It's little then we realized the tragedy in store. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. It was on a Sunday morning when the awful news came round. Another killing has been done just outside Newry town. We knew that Alan danced up there, we knew he liked the band. But when we heard that he was dead, we just could not understand. We gathered at the graveside on that cold and rainy day, and the minister, he closed his eyes and he prayed for no revenge. And all the ones who knew him from along the Ryan Road, we bowed our heads and we said a prayer for the resting of his soul. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. Well, fear had filled the countryside. There was fear in every home. When the car of death came prowling round the lonely Ryan Road, a Catholic would be killed tonight to even up the score. Oh Christ, it's young O'Malley, they're taken from the door. Alan was my friend, he cried, he begged them with his fear. But centuries of hatred, of ears that cannot hear, an eye for an eye was all that filled their mind, and another eye for another eye, till everyone is blind. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. So my song for you this evening, it's not to make you sad, nor for adding to the sorrows of this troubled northern land. But lately I've been thinking, I just won't leave my mind, to tell you of two friends one time who are both good friends of mine. I don't know where the moral is, or where the song should end, but I wonder just how many wars are fought between good friends. Those that give the orders are not the ones to die. It's Bell and O'Malley and the likes of you and I. There were roses, roses, there were roses. The tears of the people ran together. There were roses, roses, roses. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. I suppose music can be like a hand or a fist. You can reach out to embrace, or you can punch out as well. But the nature of music is with harmony. I remember we were going to London one time to sing, and I had some friends. One was a Lambeg drummer, very good one too. And the interviewer, we did a radio program, says, "What do you think you can do bringing about peace with a Lambeg drum?" He said, "It is what I have." And I never forgot that, because the whole band, so many wonderful bands here, and certainly I think nationalists don't realize the importance of the band culture, which is not necessarily to stir trouble at all. But actually, this is a song, I wonder should I sing it at all? I had a strange dream one night, and I know people who are not familiar with the music here may not understand it all, but I know my wife's French, and sometimes she doesn't have a clue what I'm trying to say, but she understands most of it now. I remember someone came into the house one time, and he's complaining about his 3 daughters coming in late, and he said to them, he says, "Use 3 or a pair if ever there was one." Just last night you come in this morning, and if you come in tonight, tomorrow, you better find some other place to live if you want to stay here. But they've got all that sort of stuff. But one night I had this strange dream, because I lived very close to the Orange Hall, and we could hear the music all the time. And just a few years ago now, I was invited down to play there, and very generously they invited me down, and I was very, very happy to play. Because I knew them all. We'd worked together on threshing machines. They weren't the same as the people, but they were the sons and children, and I knew them all by their fathers and mothers. But anyway, I heard all this music in my dream, and all these very well-known songs we probably would be familiar with. But they all seemed to be clashing with each other, and seemed to be a lot of disharmony. And I listened and tried to figure it out. But then slowly, I don't know how this happened, because sometimes we don't know how things happen. Slowly, they all seemed to sound right. And I fell into a deep sleep. And I woke up the next morning with a song that I had to give me, called The Meeting of the Songs. I'll give you a bit of it. Last night I had the strangest dream. I rode a rare nightmare across the lands where marching bands had marching tunes to share. The music notes, they took a vote to better get along, and they woke me in the morning with the meeting of the songs. It was old and it was beautiful as the shades of night came down. But in the morn a brand new song echoes all around. God save us all from them, our children, they now do rephrase. Respect each other's rights, and we'll unite the human race. The song may sound a bit mixed up, and that I know is true. But you and I, we can't deny, we are mixed up too. God save us all, but down the years, there's bits rubbed off each way. And if you think you're not mixed up, then try this new refrain. It was old and it was beautiful as the shades of night came down. But in the morn a brand new song echoes all around. God save us all from them. Our children, they now do rephrase. Respect each other's rights, and we unite the human race. If things had happened differently, or happened not at all, the bitter walls of legacy more easily might fall. But we are where we are, and there's a future to embrace. Respect each other's rights, and we unite the human race. It was old and it was beautiful as the shades of night came down. But in the morn a brand new song echoes all around. God save us all from them, our children, they now do rephrase. Respect each other's rights, and we respect the human race. Thank you very much. You know, what happened here tonight certainly has inspired me very much. And in fact, many of the people I know and have been inspiring me for many years. And it's one of the things that inspired a little event that we have in Restrever each year called Music of Healing. And one event we gathered all the religious leaders, or people from a religious tradition, sometimes former leaders, and we call it the higher quality of disagreement. And we understood that when people came into the room, they'd be disagreeing. And when they would go out of the room, they'd be disagreeing. But in between times, to find a higher quality of disagreement. And I think, you know, if someone asked me, what religion are you? Sometimes I feel I would say, it's the religion of this room. And this is a song that, we'll finish off this because you probably want to go to bed. So I won't detain you much longer, as Henry VIII used to say to the wife. But it's a song that we sang up at the peace talks at Stormont in the Good Friday Agreement and so on. It wasn't called the Good Friday Agreement because we didn't know there was going to be an agreement then. And the TV news was interviewing everyone who disagreed with the talks, because television sometimes can't deal with peace very well. If you put a cam see in a blue sky and a screen and hold that shot for more than 5 seconds, people will be getting a remote control searching for storms. Because television is about moving pictures. And anyway, we decided to create a storm for the 6 o'clock news. And we gathered up some friends from some state schools and Catholic schools, some of the children, and Lambeg drummers and fiddlers, and headed for Stormont. And we also brought a man called Vedran Smilovic, who came to live with us. He came from Sarajevo, and he played the cello in the street there. And during that time, he was playing the cello, and a CNN reporter ran out with the camera, and he says, Mr. Smilovic, are you not crazy for playing your cello while they're shelling Sarajevo? Smilovic looked at me and he says, you ask me if I'm crazy for playing my cello while they're shelling Sarajevo. Why don't you ask them, are they not crazy for shelling Sarajevo while I'm playing the cello? So anyway, this is one of the songs that we sang. And I would love if some of Nalyani would come up and join me, Fra and Sarka and Annie, and those two girls before I come on, they're lovely singers. I know that you don't know the song, but you learn it because you're very quick. I noticed that. And Roger, or would anybody like to come up and join us? Thanks, Roger. There's plenty of room. There may not be enough microphones for everybody, but please join us if the spirit moves you. But it's a song about the river that runs through Belfast. The Farset runs under it, but this one, hey, good stuff, Darwin. The chorus goes, When we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. When we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. I thought she was a vision that stopped me with her smile. Down by the river, we walked along in style. She says, you're welcome back again. Won't you stay a while? Down by the Lagan side. When we dance, and when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. I said, who owns that music that's so full of joy and pain? But the pipers and the harpers and the lambeg drummers play. She said, who owns the teardrops falling in the rain? Down by the Lagan side. When we dance, and when we dance, dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. And do you not remember we once walked side by side, so the bells of Belfast City might sing harmony and pride? The past, it has been taken, but the future is yours and mine. Down by the Lagan side. And when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. Johnny, will you come up and join us? Give him a big round of applause. Johnny Clark. And any of the other folks who'd fancy coming up. Plenty of room up here. Tons of room. When we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. You know, I think the audience, they can see the music shining out of your eyes. It's just a matter of opening your mouth and letting it out. Would you sing it on your own this time? And we'll have a listen. You ready? When we dance together. When we cry. We'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. One more time. And when we dance, we'll dance together. When we cry, we'll hold each other. When we love, we'll love forever. Down by the Lagan side. Thank you very much indeed.